everyone, and welcome to this Facebook Live. For those of you who I think my guest has a better view than me, there we go. I need to press got it. For those of you who are just joining us, I have a very special guest today, and of course, all of our guests are special. We both had a few little minor technical problems, so thank you for bearing with us. For those of you who have been waiting. So my guest today is someone who has been in Canberra but is not currently in Canberra. But I was so pleasantly surprised in such a beautiful, warm way to find out that there is a strong Canberra connection. So my guest today is Deborah Fairfull, who is a serial entrepreneur, and she's on her third startup. And she has amazing knowledge, especially in the tech space. Although, as we've discussed before, you don't always, like many women, don't think that or didn't think you had that knowledge, but you most definitely do.
That's right.
Yeah, you learn to back yourself, don't you? So she's a former winner of the ACT Businesswoman of the Year Award and the ACT Chief Minister's Award for Innovation. She is founder of award-winning businesses Brave Design Group and Eat Smart Group Food. But now she's moved on to a new business, which is called BlissSpot, which is an online platform that curates the world's best well-being for personalised health and well-being for individuals, teams, and for workplace well-being and businesses wanting to do a lot of amazing things. I don't even know where to start, Deborah. You're just so amazing. Welcome.
Amazing. Thank you. Not everyone's got their talents, but thank you for saying that. Yeah.
No, it's just wonderful to have you on here. So let's start at the beginning. How did you get interested in business and entrepreneurship?
I don't know. I think it's, at school, I was lucky enough, probably in high school, that I was able to follow my natural gifts. So I remember I did art, which I absolutely loved, and commerce. I really like commerce. So that was the mix of creativity and business, I guess. And then when I went to art school, I wanted to be a graphic designer. My aunt was a graphic designer. She lives in Canberra currently, and she's always my idol. I really wanted to be like her and be a designer like her. I loved watching her draw and create incredible things. So when I went to uni, what I specialized in uni was actually, interestingly, I love psychology because we had to do units outside the art faculty. And I love psychology, which is more like where I've got to now. And that was like breathing for me. But in the graphic design school, I had a natural talent for more the business side of things, like creating logos and stationery and corporate, promotional material, that sort of thing. So, and for some reason, I just always wanted to start up my own business, but I knew I needed to get a little bit of experience first. So I worked in Sydney in a really incredible design agency back in those days. And then when I was 24, I thought I knew it all. I was ready to start my own business, but I really absolutely knew nothing because business, as everybody knows, who started their own business, is quite a journey. And people tried to tell me, oh, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be a lot more challenging than you think. Running your own business, you have lots of different challenges. And even as they were telling me, because I think I was like 23 or 24, sitting there, in their office while they're telling me all this stuff, I'm thinking, oh, that might have been like that for you, but I'm sure my journey is going to be different. So I think being an optimist.
I know that. I'm going to be, yes, I know.
It's like, oh, it might have been hard for you, but I just love design so much. I love business so much. I'll have an easy ride. But of course, it's never like that. And it's never meant to be like that in a way, because with your challenges and things, that's how you learn and grow and you work things out. And I think Anthony Robbins said the definition of self-esteem, or what boosts your self-esteem, is when you try something a bit, you don't want to be too far outside your comfort zone, or that just creates incredible stress where maybe you can't perform. But if it's a bit above your comfort zone, it makes you grow and it boosts your self-esteem. So my journey has been like that for my entire life. I have to say, my entire working career, particularly doing 3 startups. I've always felt a bit outside my comfort zone and trying new things and learning new things. But I guess as a result, I've grown from that as well. So I feel very grateful to have been involved in business, and that's my true passion. I love having an idea, and I think it's an honor and privilege, not something you should complain about being in business, even though it is really hard and challenging. to be able to do the work that you love, to be able to influence and inspire other people, to have other people joining forces with you to work on your idea collaboratively. I think what a privilege that is. And, I think these days where there's so much about impact, making impact in the world, and to be part of that, to me, that's my purpose, and I love being part of that movement. So yeah, I think it's very exciting times all around. Mm-hmm.
I can just hear and almost feel your passion for doing this. So they seem to be quite different kind of business ideas. Is it your intuition made you do it kind of a story, or or is it a well researched story? Like, how did you get from your first one to your second one and then
Oh,
to your third
yeah.
one?
Well, my first business was a design business, and I had that for 10 years. And I was actually a partner in that with my husband, and then we sold it after 10 years. That was a very successful sale. And it was really good to focus on a business for 10 years and just be building it and seeing it grow. And by the end of it, we had an office in Sydney and Canberra. It was a really successful sale. And then I took some of that money and I started up a healthy fast food business in Mossman. It was called Eat Smart. And it was 15 years ago or so, or even maybe a little bit more now. And it was sort of it was a bit ahead of its time. And people used to tell me that all the time. They'd say, oh, this business is really ahead of its time. And I go, no, I don't want to hear that, because I'm doing it now. So the time has to be now. And it was, we did superfoods, we used quinoa, which is a grain that really nourishes your body. We had all the,
So super trendy now. 15 years ago,
yeah,
though, no one
that's
knew what it was.
exactly. But the Mossman residents was so amazing. They embraced it over time, and it won an award for best takeaway on the North Shore. And we had lots and lots of regular clients. And again, such an amazing journey to be part of. It was really hard. Sometimes I just wanted to stay in bed all day, especially if it was raining. And in the early days when we're losing money because it hadn't become successful yet, and the branding and all the other things you need to do, and the food was so different as well. But this is a bit of an aside, but I remember I met a business consultant who'd worked with me in my first business called Brave Design Group, and he was out in the street, and he was good friends with Larry Ember, that person that does TV shows, like game show hosts. And I ran into him and I said, oh, hi, I haven't seen you for ages. And he goes, what are you doing? And I go, well, I told you the idea and here it is. Like, there's the shop. Look at it. I said,
Just there.
yeah. I said, oh,
Not a
that's
concept,
amazing.
there.
He goes, exactly. He goes, that's amazing. It's a reality. And I said, but the problem is when people aren't it was actually a vegetarian restaurant as well as being a superfood restaurant. It was vegetarian.
Oh
So
my God, vegan particularly is just so hot right now. You are
yeah,
so ahead of your
I
time.
know. Well, it was actually vegan, but still in Mossman, people going to me, look, we really love the shop, but just put chicken on the menu. And then I go, but then it wouldn't be a vegetarian restaurant. Like, it would ruin the whole concept of it. But it was so cute. And anyway, he said, well, what you need to do is just get out in the street and you need to give people a taste of the food. He said people will do anything but give away stuff for free. They'll spend $3,000 on an advertising campaign or take out a big ad or something. But he said it's food. People have to taste it. Like on radio, for example, food ads don't go very well because you can't,
You can't see it, you
you
can't
can't
taste
see
it,
it.
you can't smell
Exactly.
it.
Exactly, Serena. So he said, just get all those amazing team that you've got in there, because we had the most beautiful uniforms, little caps and little branded shirts and the whole thing. He said, get them out on the street with the trays and then just get them to test the food. So we set it all up, and all these the chef made all these beautiful little bits of food. And then I had to go somewhere. I think I had to go down to the bank or something and do something there. And then I came back and there were people lined up down the shop and down the road. It was amazing because they tasted the food and thought it was so fantastic. So they wanted to go in and buy the real thing, like the burger or the meal or the
Wow.
whatever. So I'm telling this story only because it's relevant, I think, in that in business when it's hard and you feel like it's not working, ask people. And like I that was just fate. I happened to run into him on the street at that time. But ask questions, get help, support yourself. don't give up unless you're on I think if you're on an idea where there's no product to market fit, um, you don't want to just keep going, and then you're burning money. That's not smart either. You need to pivot or change or evolve, whatever you need to do. But yeah, things can change. That's all I can say. So when I saw the line down the road, my heart just melted after all that, and I'm like, yes, it's working. Starting to.
Finally, yes, I know.
To get back to your, sorry, I totally digress, but to get back to your answers. So when I was doing that, there was a whole lot of people, big conference coming to Sydney, run by Hay House, and Deepak Chopra was speaking. Because we had a food business, I was interested in Ayurvedic medicine, and I'd read some of his books and things. I thought, oh, let me go to that seminar. That'll be amazing. And it was an incredible day.
I was away. I think I was living in Taiwan when that was on, but I remember it was huge.
Yeah, yes, it's I love it when I meet people that either were going to go or was at
We
that
knew about it. Yeah.
seminar. Yeah, exactly. And so when I got there, it was like a whole new world had opened up to me. They were talking about Wayne Dyer, Louise Hayes. I mean, these people, these amazing great masters have passed away now, but they were talking
Many,
about,
yes, yes, they have, haven't they?
yeah, exactly. But they were talking about metaphysical mastery and how your mind and body works, living your life on purpose, flowing rather than struggling. And I just totally felt like I was home. So even though I was committed to my food business, it was actually going really, really well. After 3 years, I had two very small children. I decided to sell it because I wanted to move. Once I discovered that whole body of work, there was kind of no turning back. And I knew that was my true purpose, was to be sharing ideas that made people's lives easier. Because the common thread between my first business and my second business was I'd become a lifelong learner. Like I was struggling so much in those businesses at various times, particularly my first business. I was only 24, didn't know a thing about a cash flow or chargeable hours or how to manage staff. I had to learn everything from the ground up. And I did though, and I struggled, but I'd go and do things. Like I wouldn't just keep struggling. With the HR stuff, I studied at the Australian College of Applied Psychology here in Sydney. I did a HR course, and that was life changing. I went back and I was a much better a boss, person to work for, because I understood how to relate to people, how to resolve conflicts, better interpersonal skills, giving feedback to people in a way that was digestible to them and positive to them, and understanding cultural differences, all those sorts of things. So one of my biggest tips from today is, what I learned is, if you're struggling, so you're here and what you need to know is up here, go out and get the resources and close the gap, and then you'll start to flow again because you're up here, kind of where you need to be. So I've had to do that, and continuing to do that the whole way in my business, and even, in my personal journey as well. So yeah, that's been very good. I think being a business owner is a great area to be alchemy for change. Like you're forced to grow and change to survive and keep moving forward.
Well, thank you so much for that. Now, there's a number of people who are online. If you are online, please pop in and say hi. I'm sure you will have questions for Deborah, especially as we get into learning a little bit more about Bliss Spot and the self mastery questions that we have. So don't feel shy. Please put some questions in so that you can have an opportunity to ask. So let's talk about your new business, Bliss Spot. So it's a beautiful website.
Oh, thank you, Serena. Yes, well, when I had this sort of epiphany that I wanted to go into because that was my passion, was finding out things that made my life easier, trying them on myself like a little test case. And then if they worked, I'd share them with my teams at work. So I shared with them conflict resolution skills and interpersonal skills, and they flourished not only at work, like both those businesses became high performing teams. And but it also helped people in their personal life if they're having an argument with their partner, but they could, implement a good conflict resolution skill. They were happier at home, and then they were happy at work. So everything, like, you bring your whole self to work. So when at the end of Eat Smart, my food business, I was doing some soul searching. I thought, what would I do if I didn't get paid? What would I do just for fun? And that would be to share ideas with people to help them and support them when they were stuck to start flowing again. And I became an expert with Mindvalley for a couple of years. So they're a big personal development company.
I know who they are, and it's funny because as I was looking at your website, I was like, wow, there was elements of that that really did remind me of Mind Valley, and I had a feeling it might have been conscious, but I didn't quite realize how conscious.
Yeah, so I was a expert there for a couple of years, but I think I still had my business roots were calling me home because I was such a privilege and an honor to work with them, but I like working with teams and growing something and um, so I started up my own business, Blisspot, but I realized it was more than just me and my ideas. I'd sort of developed a body of work around emotional mastery because I know that when our emotions overtake us, we're feeling overwhelmed and stressed, which is so widespread right now on the planet, it's hard for us to perform at our best or to be the person that we want to be in our relationships, in our career. It impacts our health. So my body of work was called Bliss Every Day. So it's just bringing bliss into your everyday life through a whole series of like skills and techniques, and maybe even just changing your perspective in certain areas of your life. But I knew it was much bigger than just me, what I wanted to do. And I knew it needed to be a body of experts from all over the world, global. We're really into supporting all different cultures, different ages. So I was very lucky in that Blisspot's attracted some incredible people who contribute their work, beautiful life's work to Blisspot in the form of online courses, online meditations, and online podcasts. And some of our experts, I believe they're all world class. They've usually had the problem themselves. Then they've done all the academic work. Many of them are doctors in psychology, also the physical, practical work. And then they've put the best of their ideas together in the form, some sort of digital offering. So that's probably a course or maybe podcasts or meditations. And then they train thousands of people in their work, which is really incredible. Like the sleep expert, she's a sleep researcher. She's been totally immersed in that work for 10 years. Dr. Margaret Paul's appeared on Oprah. She does all this incredible work on self-love. Like it's so beautiful and
Wow.
life-enhancing. She's got a massive following in the States. Anna Holub does our work on forgiveness, which is a big area. That's an area you can be really stuck. You can be really down here and you're wanting to be up here and flowing again. So she's got an incredible story. Yeah.
And forgiveness is such an important spiritual aspect, but it's often, I think, in some ways misunderstood. Like people think, well, someone's done the wrong thing by you, and in my case, I'm a domestic violence survivor. So then, day two, you suddenly forgive, and it's like sometimes it takes a while to get to that forgiveness, and that's okay. Like it takes a little while to get there, and just because you forgive doesn't mean that it's okay for someone to continue to abuse you.
Absolutely not. You might forgive, but you're not condoning the behavior. You don't want to be
Yeah.
involved with that sort of behavior again. You absolutely, and you might even choose not to be friends with that person, but you've just come to some sort of peace around it. And I've had situations in my own life where I found it incredibly hard to forgive people. And I've actually asked Anna that, and it's exactly to your point. I've said to her, I've got someone in my life, I just can't forgive them. And she said, that is all right. It takes time. Like, it can take time. So just go with that. If you're not ready to forgive, that's okay. So it's not about forcing yourself, but it's probably over time. You probably are able to make peace around it, but it might take time. So she's got a beautiful body of work of bliss spot meditations and a course around forgiveness, but she's totally immersed in that work. It's her life's work. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with Blisspot. And then I guess too, we started Blisspot like we would sort of bring things together, and we officially formed the company at the beginning of 2018. And that was before the pandemic.
Yeah. Once again,
Yeah.
you're ahead of the curve with
I
everything.
just people in their daily lives, it didn't matter how much money they had. It wasn't about money, but being joyous. I've seen people with, 2 cents to their name, and they're the happiest people you could ever wish to meet. But it depends where you're living too, actually. Having said that, a lot of those people I'm thinking of are probably more like in Bali or Fiji. So they've got different expectations about things. So we're not really here to have a philosophical conversation about that. But my point is, I could see that regardless of even income and career, that joy and happiness is a state of mind, and that people need a lot of education around that, because stress is the world's leading cause of disability. And when we're stressed, short bursts of stress are probably okay, but on an ongoing, for very prolonged, ongoing basis for prolonged periods of time, it starts to change the chemicals in our body and break down things. And that's our immune system. That's why we become sick. It impacts our relationships. If we're highly stressed, we're not being our best at work. We're just not, because we don't, to be your best at work, you're innovative and you're creative and you're flowing. And yeah, you're putting your best ideas out there. But if you're stressed, things shut down, and you're not just, your body can shut down and you're not in your best state. So I started Bliss Spot for individuals originally, but there's such a big demand for it in corporates, which has only increased radically since the pandemic began, as businesses are being asked officially to take more responsibility for their team's mental and emotional health, because a lot of people themselves don't have the resources to do so. And so the International Standards Organization, which is based in Europe, last year set a mandate. They created a standard, actually, the ISO 45003, around psychological safety at work, that all teams, no matter how large or small businesses, needed to have some sort of offering for their teams and their mental health. So that's Bliss Spot is a perfect solution for that, because they're a very comprehensive end-to-end wellbeing solution. We've got just light ways people can engage with blogs. If they want a bit more of an in-depth look at things, they can take a course, a meditation or a podcast. And then there's one-on-one telehealth sessions if they really want to get an expert from anywhere in the world on a specific topic to really guide and support them through their journey. So that's how Bliss Spot evolved. And I guess now it's doing, great work in that area. And yeah, so that.
Well, thank you for the work you do. And there's so much to say about this. It's just so important. But I hear you, particularly about stress and the impact on your body. Back in 2019, I was working in a toxic work situation, and everything suddenly just came to a head very suddenly. It just went bang. And I worked through that, and then I eventually left. But what was really noticeable for me is just the immediate physical impact on my health. Like suddenly I started feeling really dizzy. Like I'd get up out of bed of a morning, got really dizzy. So it must have had something to do with my blood pressure, because that was immediate. I had trouble with my memory. I had trouble making decisions. I had trouble thinking. I had trouble processing. I had trouble with my sight. So suddenly, and I'm sort of at that age where your sight is starting to be compromised a bit. But suddenly I was just finding that I couldn't read things nearly as clearly. And I also noticed that my hair started going grey at a larger rate, and it all happened like within a day. And I was like, wow, this is really profound.
Yeah, well, that is exactly right. And profound is a very good word, because your body is the most powerful supercomputer you will ever find. It's more powerful than any computer that exists on the planet. It's in tune with you. It knows exactly what is right for you. So if you're in a toxic work environment that's not your true purpose, or that's not serving you, your body gives you signals. And what it does is it ramps it up until you take notice and make the change, which you did because you left. So you could the signals could be either to speak to people within the organization, but then sometimes it's not possible. Like if they were reasonable and you could work it through, maybe they would have changed and then it would have been better for you. If they're not going to change, then in a way you are, in a sense, your body's telling you to leave, because it can't bear it. Like it's not right for you. So you mentioned intuition before, and that's something I'm totally passionate about. And I train people a lot to listen to their intuition, because your intuition is like your very own personal GPS, and it's exactly right for you. Like your intuition is never, ever wrong. But the problem is, as humans, we override it because often we don't want to hear what our intuition is saying to us. Like it might be telling us to get out of a bad relationship, or this job's not right
Mm-hmm.
for us, or we've
But
got to
you're like, he seems really nice, and the pay is really good, and it's really prestigious, and I still got friends at work. Yeah, I hear you.
exactly. And we all do it. I'm guilty of it myself. So I train people to listen to your intuition. So your intuition usually speaks to you in a small, quiet voice, like it whispers to you, doesn't really yell at you. But then if you keep ignoring the signs, Oprah Winfrey says, which I think is really clever, first it'll be like a little pebble, then it'll be a little stone, there'll be a little bit of a larger rock, and then it'll be like a brick, and there'll be like a boulder's dropped on your head. And that's usually when the boulder is usually serious illnesses, actually, which is serious. So I train people to always listen to your intuition when things are small, because things are always easy to fix and deal with when they're small. But sometimes we've been trained
Yeah.
out of listening to our intuition. So we've got to be super, super kind to ourselves on this process and go, oh, I should be listening to my intuition. Oh, why was I so stupid as not to listen to that? No, because that would have been because you're just not used to it, or you've been trained out of it by often very, very well-meaning people. That could be parents or
Oh,
teachers that always
exactly.
taught you to listen to authority or put the outside voice over your voice. And I think even in my children's generation, it's probably a lot different. They're being trained a lot more to listen to themselves. But I still think as an overall whole, we've got a long way to go. So when you listen to your,
Especially as women, I think too. Like, I
yeah,
think we often feel like we have to be the responsible ones. We have to, keep the family together, make the decisions to keep everyone else okay. And so you sort of put yourself last, even though your intuition's saying, yeah, but I really want to go off and be an artist. But you're like, yeah, but like, who's going to make the kids' school lunches, and who's going to pay for this and that and whatever?
I could not agree more, Serena. That is so true. Women particularly are trained to be people pleasers, smile, be um, nice, all those sorts of things. And I'm blissed about, but we are so aware of that. And it sounds like you totally are too. And we do a lot of women's empowerment work. There's a huge movement at the moment around women's empowerment, which is super important. And we're right behind it because the world needs women's attributes to bring it back into balance. Like the attributes that women have are so special, not totally unique to women. Of course, lots of men, lovely men on the planet have incredible attributes as well. But for the minute, we're just talking about women. So, women are more naturally collaborative. We've got a very highly developed sense of intuition, but we need to trust it and to tune into it first. And then when we've tuned into it, to actually trust it. And then when we actually trust it, to act on it, because you can know it and you can see it, but you can also do nothing. And I've done that. This is just a really simple example. But once I was sitting in the car, and my intuition said, go and get a cardigan. You are going to be freezing today. But the garage was a little ways from the house. I was probably just a little bit lazy. And I thought, oh, no, I'll be all right. Like the sun looks like it's all right. And then I didn't get the cardigan and I was freezing all day. And my intuition told me to get it. And I knew it, but I didn't I didn't act on it. So acting on it is that's the fourth part of your intuition. You have to act on your intuition. But women, we have all these beautiful skills, our gentleness, kindness, strength, like so strong. Women are so strong, steely strong, aware. And I think there's a huge movement, global movement about raising women up so that we can be equal, and that balances out male energy, which also has its own special attributes. We need both,
It
but it's
does.
out
You
of
need that
balance.
intense action sometimes.
Yes, you do. And the power and all the things that they bring to the world. But it's been out of balance for thousands of years. Women, even hundreds of years ago, were seen more as just like cattle to be traded. And you didn't have a say, not in every case, of course, but you didn't have a say or you didn't have a voice. Even maybe 50 years ago, women didn't have such a voice, except for in a few rare and amazing cases of where women rose up and did amazing things. Like I'm always amazed at what people have done in the past as women in really tough and difficult times. And it's tough and difficult times now, but I think it's about coming together, rising up, supporting each other, and really balancing out the world with our beautiful feminine energy, because it's beautiful and it's wise. Like women have so much wisdom to share as well, and we bring balance into the world. So I
We
think
do.
over the
It's
next
so needed right now.
needed right now. That's
So
exactly
needed.
perfect. Yeah,
As we recover from pandemic, as we're dealing with climate
absolutely.
change, it's so needed right now.
That's right.
Now, so how can people find you, and specifically, how can they find Bliss Spot?
Well, Blisspot, we're on the internet, so it's just BLISSPOT. It's like Bliss Spot, but we did it with two S's, or three S's just looked a little bit weird. So it's blisspot.com. And yeah, if you go to the website, you can sign up and you can become a totally free member. It's like Canva or LinkedIn, where we have loads and loads of resources, because we really are out there to do good in the world and support people as much as we possibly can. So there's gratitude journal, bucket list. You can create a vision board. You can set your well-being goals. You get playlists. It's like Netflix, where once we know what your goals are, we can recommend a whole lot of resources to support you. There's over 1,000 blogs on the site on all sorts of different topics from global well-being leaders from all over the world. So there's lots and loads of free support. And then we do have the offering. It's like a subscription for $14 a month. So it's not too, which our mandate is to make everything really affordable and accessible. So for like 3 cups of coffee.
Considering the expertise that's available there,
Yeah. Well, that's the gift of technology, the fact that you can bring very, very quality content. And then because of the way we can provide it digitally, we're able to do it at a very reasonable cost. Like a lot of those authors or experts, if you were to do a one-on-one session with them, it'd be like $1,000 an hour or something like that. They're very high level, but they've packaged it all up in a very neat and lovely way to share with you. That's much more affordable and much more accessible.
so Sue Wald said, wow, amazing, thanks. Sue is a former GP who has
Oh,
a passion for women's coaching, particularly for female GPs,
okay.
and the stress that they're under. So I'm sure
Oh,
she'll really,
amazing. That's
really enjoy your
amazing.
work.
Yes, amazing work. And gosh, women GPs or all GPs have, really been at the coalface throughout the pandemic, haven't they? Trying to help as many people as possible. Amazing work. Mm.
So thank you so much for being my guest. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom.
Oh, pleasure. Pleasure, Serena. Delightful to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.